All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Logical Nonsense Podcast, episode 75, part one. We've got one viewer already. All right, so we've got today the top 25 greatest games ever played. We have Dodge, we have Caden here. Boys, it's a pleasure doing business with you as always. How are we doing today?
Yeah, feeling good today. Yeah, exactly
Doing
how I would
well, doing
describe it.
well.
Yes, sir. It's always a special day when Logical Nonsense Podcast has one of these special episodes. Um, you know, I think the reason we wanted to talk about games is, similar to last times we had sports moments, and those are moments that make you go, but there's something about an entire game where you're sitting in awe that is just special. And there's been so many games that have been great, games that I've not watched in the moment, but also games that I have watched in the moment. So I'm excited to see what you boys have in store. We have some great lists. I have had a preview myself, and so I'm excited to show everyone these lists. All right, so let's start with Caden's list. Um, Caden, you have an interesting first five. Let me share my screen real quick. Here we go. All right. So our first five for Caden, we have the MB. I'm gonna make this bigger. Can I make this bigger? No, whatever. We have 2008 NBA Finals Game 4 Celtics comeback win. 1 second. Sorry, kid. There's got to be a way to make these bigger. There we go. All right. Go ahead, Kate. You can present
All
your
right.
own.
Yeah, so kind of a little bit of the criteria of my list and the way that I saw it. I think it was really difficult to not just pick moments now instead of games because big games obviously have big moments. So trying to differentiate from our episode 50 to now. But I think to make this list, a lot of these games that you're going to see from me today are games that in the moment meant a lot to the season, a lot of postseason, a lot of big time games, big time plays, and big time games. So to start off my list, 25, I have 2008 NBA Finals. Celtics are playing the Lakers. They're down by 24 points. They come back in game four. They win the game. They go up 3-1 in the series. And everyone counted them out in the game. And then all of a sudden, Paul Pierce started going off. Rondo started going off. And next thing you know, it's a close game at the end. And they're avenging a loss to the Lakers in a previous finals. They go up, they get the series win, then they win their first title in a while in 08. At 24, I have the LSU Texas A&M 74-72 7 overtime game shootout. RIP college overtime. That's why I included it on the list. We're never going to see games like that again. Now it's just 2-point conversions, but that was exciting. Probably one of the most thrilling overtimes ever in college football history.
Definitely.
Then, similar to that, I have the Rams Chiefs 54-51 shootout. Both teams were 9-1 going into this game. Back and forth. Goff versus Mahomes, absolute thriller. Probably one of the best regular season games that we've seen. Everyone was tuned into that one. And then my next one, I have the Yankees versus the Red Sox. I'm a Red Sox fan. 2004, Game 4 ALCS. Red Sox are down 3-0. The year prior, they lost to the Yankees in the ALCS in Game 7 on a walk-off in the 9th. In this game, David Ortiz hits a walk-off in the bottom of the 12th. All of a sudden, they're down 3-1. Then they win the next game, it's 3-2. Then they go out and they win the series. The first team ever to come back from a 3-0 deficit, all sparked by this game right here. And then for my number 21, I have the Raptors 76ers Game 7. Kawhi Leonard, Raptors, corner three. Everyone knows how this one ended. It was exciting because it was kind of a turning of the tide in the NBA. No more Warriors Cavs. We're getting away from that. Everyone's going for the Raptors. They haven't won a title. And so everyone's going for Kawhi. And it's just an exciting game, an exciting finish.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Before I show my clip that I've selected for your five, Dodge, you got any comments on his list?
There's a game or two on here that are no, there's just one game on here on my list as well. It's a little bit higher up. The LSU Texas A&M game we'll be seeing again because I remember watching that game and it was everything you expect from a absolute iconic game. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a video game. So
Definitely. No, I think it's interesting. I love the Rams Chiefs pick. It's also on my list. You'll find. I think in terms of regular season games, there's not very many that come to memory, right? I think we oftentimes forget about regular season games because there's so many. And the moment, I don't know if they always mean so much, but I think that game really opened eyes. And so I really like that pick, Cade, because I think it's underrated as a game in a moment. So all right, so let's go to your clip that I've chosen. One that I can't remember if we watched last time or not, but I guess we'll find out. All right, here we go. Bop.
bang.
In, baby. Crazy. Still crazy that he dropped that one in. I oftentimes think if that shot doesn't go in, what happens to the Sixers? Embiid? This is Eastern Conference Finals, correct?
Yeah.
That's Embiid's first to the finals. Do we look at Embiid differently?
Do we look at Kawhi differently? I think
True.
that's a big
So-
subject too.
I know, yeah. I mean, he goes on, obviously beats the Warriors. Big moment for him. 2-time Finals MVP, I believe. So if he doesn't have that second ring, do we have the same respect? I don't know. Different conversation, different day. So here we go. Let's go to Dodge's next. Dodge, you have an interesting list in general. I think you went many different directions. Talk about your criteria before I show these first 5.
Yeah, so my criteria was basically what makes a game extraordinary. And there are many things that make a game extraordinary. Sometimes it's that both teams are evenly matched, both teams just have a great brawl of a game, right? And sometimes it's things that, individual performances. Sometimes it's more personal, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to see that in my list a little bit more. So,
Okay. So let's go to your list first. Starting with, go ahead, read it off.
yeah. So 25th, right, on my
Oh, I
list
didn't share it. Sorry, my bad. Here we go.
No worries.
Now read it off. There you go.
There you go. 25th on my list is the college football game in 2012, Texas A&M versus Florida. Now, people probably think, I don't remember that game. Why would I remember that game? It's the opening game of the season in 2012. But this is the first game we see Money Manziel play.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I remember this story. Yes.
And the reason why it's on my list is because it's something personal to me. And I remember I was watching that game in the media room, and I called my mom over. I said, "Mom, you see this guy playing quarterback for Texas A&M? He's going to win the Heisman someday." Boom. Wins it his that season. I didn't expect it to be that season, to be fair, but I think Johnny Manziel changed the way we look at college football quarterbacks, and for that reason, I think it deserves to be in the list.
I like it.
Also, another personal one with the 2018 college football game, WSU v Oregon, right? College
Big win.
game day. College game day comes, and I just have great memories of that game. I have great memories of sleeping out on the sidewalk to get into college game day. I literally slept on the sidewalk, and exactly, what a game. I remember being in the stands, rushing the field for that first time. There was just a different feeling on that campus that day and that week. So for me, it had to be in my top 25, even if people don't understand it. People, aren't WSU Oregon fans, maybe aren't connected to the Pacific Northwest. If you were, you know what I'm talking about. And this hits. And then 1992 NBA All-Star Scrimmage. Now, this is a little interesting, and most people probably wouldn't put this in there. But people say it's the greatest game that was never
played.
watched.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you had the Dream Team. You have all the NBA greats. And they're all playing the scrimmage where you got Jordan, you got Magic, you got Bird.
Yep.
And so many others. Yeah. And they're going up and down the court. I can only wish that there were cameras there so that we could have watched this, because they could have easily sold out any stadium they wanted to.
Yeah.
And the numbers on television would have been crazy.
Yeah, The Last Dance talks about it a lot, which is a fun moment in that show. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then this is kind of where we get into some individual performances just make a game great. And Kobe's 81 in 2006, sometimes you just have to watch greatness. Even though the game, the game's not necessarily the best game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But Kobe's performance that night makes me want to makes me want to watch that game even again and again on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of games that you can say that about. So
yeah,
that's why it's on my list. 2010 Winter Olympics hockey, USA v Canada. Canada does get the better of us in this one. But it's on my list because that game goes in overtime. Obviously, it's big whenever USA and Canada play each other in hockey. We're both competitive, especially Canadians in hockey. Yep. And Sidney Crosby, one of the best NHL players of all time, scores a goal in overtime to win that game. So that's why it made my list.
Armchair Athletes is present, and they agree with you, Dodge. 2010 gold medal game was elite. Shout out Armchair Athletes. Make sure to go check their podcast out. Appreciate you boys hopping on here. And that's a great moment before I show one of your clips, Dodge. If you want to be entered into the giveaway going on for episode 75, make sure to comment. You will be entered, and make sure that you're subscribed. You could win a free hat or a vinyl of your choice up to $50. So quite a deal by the man, Mr. Hunter Schuler here. So let's go to your clip, Mr. Douglas Matthews. You know how to come out with good old Gardner Minshew. Here we go, baby. Yeah.
Let's go, Cougs.
Ooh, one sec. Oh my goodness. 1 second. Here we go. This is the clip I wanted.
That's Desmond Patman catching the ball right there, too. Yep.
Allen and junior college led his team. And, oh, by the way, it's 4 straight wins. If you're a senior on Washington State, you've never lost to Oregon. Well, there.
You hear that, folks? You never lost to Oregon. Where was that when I was there? Yikes. Didn't mean it like that.
I never lost to Oregon.
Didn't mean it like that. All right. Now we get to my list. These boys talked about their criteria. About time I talk about mine, I definitely had an interesting criteria. I think definitely kind of what Caden said. You got to look at, you don't want it to be the same list as moments, because I do think it's different. There are certain moments And we talked about it a little bit. Like, there's moments that are bigger than sports that I don't necessarily would say like that's a great game, right? And I also think there's certain moments that are just bigger than the game that we chose. Of course, there's going to be those like moments that are daggers in the big stage, and they reappear here. But overall, I was looking from not always the start, but there's definitely something that gets you hooked, something that makes you want to watch the entire game because it was just one moment after another, one play after another, right? So that was really my criteria is what was truly a good game, something that you couldn't keep your eyes off of, or if you did for a second, you were definitely grabbing the remote and putting it back on. So that's kind of what I went for here. Um, Starting out with my 25 through 20, I have at number 25 Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl, which I know is on both of your boys' lists and is
Whoa.
way, way low compared to yours. To be honest, I didn't expect you guys to even have it on your list. So we'll get to that later. There's a big foreshadowing in this, but I do have the Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl on here. Obviously, so many iconic moments, as I just talked about. It's one of the best Super Bowls I've ever personally watched. From the pick six to the Hines Ward toe tap there's just so many great moments, and it was a neck and neck battle throughout. I think it's one of the best played games through and through. Then I have 24 Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals, the Rangers for hockey. If you're a hockey fan, obviously a very iconic game and some iconic moments throughout that game. So going to number 23, I am in alignment with Caden here. I believe that the Rams Chiefs game should be on this list. One of the best Monday Night Football games I've ever watched. I think it was kind of the upbringing of the Patrick Mahomes legend in ways, and it kind of just solidified it even more. Him versus the Rams, and at the time, the Rams were that team on offense, two of the most electric offenses. And after last year and watching the offenses last year, I'm like, where is this? No, I'm just kidding. But it was just a very, very fun game to watch. Number 22, I have one of the most iconic Super Bowls in Super Bowl history, the Ice Bowl. The game was close for multiple reasons, but the game was very close and very iconic. It was negative 48 degrees. Players had frostbite. I think you think of games, and there's not going to be ever a game probably like this again,
Nope.
especially in a Super Bowl. I mean, most Super Bowls now are indoors. So I think you look at that and you got to, I think, at least consider it for your list. And so that's why I have it at 22 here. And then at 21, I have the Phillies versus the Cardinals in the 2010 World Series. I believe this went into 12 innings. Super great game. I meant to put the game down. I want to say it was either game 4 or 6. I apologize for not remembering, but it went into 12 innings. It was super, super great game. I remember watching this as a kid and just like in awe of like watching these two teams battle it out. Nothing better than a World Series going in extra innings. And yeah, just a very, very great game. Very random game, I'm sure, to some, but definitely something kind of like Dodge was talking about, personal to me. So yeah, any comments on my list?
Yeah, the Rams Chiefs, I understand why you both have it on your list. But the defense wasn't great that day. And you have the Steelers Cardinals way too low, and I'll get into why later. So.
Yep. Okay, what do you guys? What about the Ice Bowl? What do you think about that?
No, I like
It's
the
on
Ice
my list
Bowl.
too.
It barely missed mine. I think looking at both yours and Dodge's, you had picks that I'm like, oh, I thought about them, but just barely kind of missed mine.
Yeah.
I only had like 2 that have matched so far with your
Yeah.
guys' list. So
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm telling you guys, like our lists are very, very different. I feel like last time we had a lot of similarities, and this time there's definitely I don't want to say a lot of differences, but definitely some significant differences in our list, which makes it fun. So loading up the clip right now. But I will be showing the want to say, which one did I pick? Oh, I'm showing the Rams Chiefs highlights since me and Caden both had it. The end of that game was crazy too. That's not talked about enough. Not only was it like back and forth because everyone was scoring, but like the end of that game is pretty crazy too. So, okay. I don't know how many ads I have to watch before they show it, so I apologize, everyone. Another reminder to comment if you'd like to join the giveaway. All right, here we go. Gerald Everett.
Watch those feet. Great balance by Gerald.
That was good.
40 yards. They're going to try to treat Johnson across
Then he
the
comes
field.
back with it.
3rd and 10. Mahomes. Got it.
Tyreek. Back in the day.
That was almost a hospital pass.
Play action. He's going to wind it up. Downfield, a wobbler is in.
Game.
It is picked off.
That's how it ends.
Marcus Peters.
And Dodge said there's no defense. Just kidding. All right, so
There's 105 points scored.
just playing. All right, so Cade, we have you next. Let me get your list up. So we have your 20 through 19, or what? We have your 20 through 16, I believe. Here we go. Going to look. Okay, we have your 20 through 16.
That's 15 through 11.
Whoopsies.
There we go.
You didn't see that.
Nope.
All right, here we
No
go.
spoilers. All right. So at number 20, I have the 1983 NC State Houston basketball national championship game. Probably the greatest 30 for 30 still to this day that I've ever watched.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't supposed to be
yeah.
there. They win the ACC tournament. All of a sudden, they start knocking off big dogs, get a couple lucky breaks, and they find themselves against Phi Slamma Jamma in the national championship with Houston. No one thought they were going to win that game. Next thing they know, they're battling back, tied at 52. Deep three, airballed, perfect pass, put back dunk for the win at the buzzer. Cements the greatest run in college basketball history on a moment like that. Coach had cancer. Everyone knows that story. Just an amazing story and an amazing game for them. Yeah. And they try to repeat it this year too. NC State's that team.
Yeah.
At 19, I have the Cubs versus the Indians, Game 7 in the 2016 World Series. Cubs finally break the curse. You know,
Great
they rolled. They started the game up. They're up 5-1. Everyone was believing. Then all of a sudden, the Indians come roaring back, take the lead late. It's 7-6, I believe, and then the Cubs finally, right at the end, win it 8-7. Get that first World Series in forever. Great game, great ending. At 18, I have the 2022 AFC divisional game against the Chiefs and the Bills. I think everyone was excited for this game, knowing it was going to be high stakes, high flying. Bills were favorites, and then they had a lead. 13 seconds left. Mahomes, that's all you need to know, gets it to overtime. Get the ball first in overtime, score, win the game. Controversy after that, changes the overtime rules. Probably one of the most exciting playoff football games that we've seen.
Yep.
At 17, I have the Clemson versus Alabama national championship in 2019. I think everyone expected Bama to kind of roll this game. They went out to a 14-0 lead early. Clemson claws their way back, gets a stop on defense, gets the ball back at the end, goes down. Hunter's favorite route at the end of the game, Hunter Renfrow, game winner, walk off, Bama goes down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give me a little pivot action.
Little pivot. And then at 16, I have game 2 of the 2011 NBA Finals, the Mavs over the Heat. Heat are up 15 points in this game. Dirk Nowitzki, out of nowhere, wills the Mavs back in this game. They don't win this game. Who knows if they win those finals? That's why it's one of my favorites, because he cements himself and basically felt like a 5v1 in those finals.
Yeah.
That's why that made my moments, but not my
Mhm.
game, actually. Because one of my top 50 moments is the Dirk and the Mavs stop the Heat.
Yeah.
Also,
I like it. I don't know. That game 2 is a good game. Game 2 is a good game.
Clemson, Alabama, is that the one where it's a pick route at the end of the game that went uncalled?
No comment.
I was heated after that game. I mean, I'm not even a Bama fan, and I was
No,
absolutely heated.
It was
Yeah.
within a yard, give or take a couple yards.
I like this 5 here. I like this 5 here. I have zero qualms with any of these 5. I think they're all great games. I like the Jimmy V respect. You'll also see that on my list. There's a few others on my list here that I have on mine. So I like the list, Cade. Doing well so far. You're doing well so far. For your clip, I have once again the 13-second Chiefs comeback because it's still crazy to me to this day.
Can't believe that defense got beaten up like that. So this right here's Hill.
Here's a chance.
Yes, it's going to be. Got to throw it right away, right now to someone in the middle. Down the middle. Oh my goodness! It's going to be a 48-yard. That's what it is.
How he just runs a seam still amazes me.
Send it. I'm so nervous. The kick is good. Back out in super. He can't stop it, right? So it's like it's a loss. Second and 6. Keep it. Rolling out, bringing it open.
Wide open every time.
That's a letter. Can you see how tight it is?
Why couldn't you guys? Why couldn't you guys get that wide open?
Blockers out in front, and they're all. I'm going through.
Leave this to the final
First
one.
down.
No,
This time sidearm. Hill. Backs
Definitely
up,
not.
away.
this one, I think, right?
From the pocket. Wide open. Hardman. We've seen this already. Looking to the end zone for the win.
All right, that's enough, Chiefs. All right, so great game there. Now we move to Dodge's list. Back to Dodge's list. Let me make sure I actually have the right 20 through 16 here. Okay, Dodge. Here we go.
Yep, that's it. All right, so you start off with the NBA Finals 1997 Bulls v. Jazz. And of course, this game's great because this is MJ's flu game, if you guys don't know. And this is what makes it iconic is that, the man, like the finals was not in question. The Bulls were going to win. But with the flu, right? And comes out and he puts up 38.
Yeah. 38. They were down most of the game too.
It's an individual performance that I couldn't leave off this list. And there are many moments that make a game, and like I said, this is part of my criteria, and it's hard to disentangle the two from episode 50 to episode 75 here. But this is one moment that's makes the game, right? And it's not even one moment in the game, it's the whole game that makes the game. So that's why it's in there. The NFL championship game, 1967, Cowboys v. Packers. If you guys don't know, that's also the Ice Bowl. It's the same thing, just more formal. But yeah, negative 48, like you said, we'll never see a game like that ever again.
Not the Super Bowl. We might see it maybe in Buffalo one of these years.
No,
I don't even know. I don't know if we will though, because I think people are too soft now.
No, you're right. No one would go to the game, and they would cancel it. They'd cancel it immediately. We'll never have a game like that again. MLB World Series 2011 Game 3, Cardinals v. Rangers. And this is another one that's an individual performance that makes the game. Similar to Kobe's 81 game, but this is even better because Albert Pujols hits 3 home runs in a World Series game.
Yeah, nuts.
What? Like Kobe, Kobe did it against the Raptors in some game, right? We're talking about the World Series.
Yeah.
Hitting 3 bombs in one game. I mean, honestly, Albert Pujols is one of the most underrated MLB players of all time. If I'm being honest, that's a different podcast, but it totally deserves to be on this list. Obviously, 1980 Winter Olympics hockey, USA versus USSR. How can that not be on our list? That better be on all 3 of our lists. USA.
It's smiling a little bit too much. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, the Miracle on Ice, right? Like, it's been dramatized even from what it was with the movie, of course, but also just what it meant. It's bigger than sports, but also it was the game. It was a good game. And USA came out on top. So, yeah. 1989 Sonics v. Bucks game. This is penta overtime, 5 overtimes. It's one of the longest games ever in NBA history, if not the longest game in NBA history. And it's got my Sonics in it. It was 155 to 154 in total, right? In 1995.
That's a 4-quarter game nowadays.
Exactly. But we're talking about with defenses that foul the crap out of each other.
That's bad.
So yeah, I think it deserves to make the game just because when are you going to ever see a game again that goes 5 overtimes in the NBA? I don't think NBA players would care enough to play 5 overtimes.
Yeah.
The starters would say, no, I'm out. Put in the bench, guys. I don't care to win this game. So
interesting that you have 2 individual performance games on here. What inclines you? Like, why do you think they deserve to be on a list that's titled greatest games? It's okay. I'm not like.
No, you're coming after
I'm just asking like why you decided to include those.
I decided to include them because sometimes we get almost too spoiled by the greatness we see, and we just let it go. When in reality, we should be thinking about those games like Pujols 3 home runs in a World Series game.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? What individual performance beats that? Right?
100-point game with Will Chamberlain. Ooh. I'm just kidding.
Where's the video evidence? Where's the video evidence?
Another pod. I was just wondering because I don't know. I don't want to ruin Caden's list, but I don't think either one of us really necessarily had individual games as on our list, so that's why I asked. But
yeah, I just have it on there because I think sometimes greatness deserves to be rewarded, and they're even among the greatest games of all time. When you have individual performances that are beyond great, I think it makes a great game. So
definitely. All right, well, let's go to the game I picked. I picked the flu game. I think it's a fun game to watch, and I picked some of the last minutes of that game. So let's look at it.
10 on the shot clock. Pippen making Hornacek. Here's Jordan. Yes!
Ah,
Michael Jordan
look at him.
in the fourth quarter.
That's hard to believe that you can lose track of time and score as Karl Malone did there.
Look at that man's eyes.
Yeah, he is not feeling good. I love all the clips of that, like them saying like people poisoned his food and did all this shit. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he got poisoned?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
If he did, it was just an accident. You know, it happens sometimes.
For sure. No, I'm just playing. All right, well, let's go to my moment or my next 5 games from 2016. I have starting at number 20. I have Super Bowl that neither of you have on your list. The Titans-Rams Super Bowl, the greatest game played on turf. The big stretch by Mr. Isaac Bruce, I believe. Crazy game. I think you look at Kurt Warner, you think at so many legends within this game. I think this is a great game and very iconic. And then obviously the ending is so heartbreaking. We always talk about like, the catch or, Heinz Ward. Like I know there's so many uplifting buzzer beaters, but this is like the opposite of that, right? Like we see the ending of it and it was a close game through and through. So I have the Titans Rams Super Bowl at number 20. Number 19, I have the Butler Duke March Madness National Final. Butler, huge underdog, gave Duke a run for their money. Coach K talks about their legendary run. You can hear him talk about it. That team was tough. Obviously, Gordon Hayward was the main man there, and he almost won it for him on a half-court buzzer. That's one of my top moments, but I also just think this game, the story behind it, to the moments, it's just one of those games that I think at least have to consider. So I have it there. And then at number 18, I have the Spurs Heat Game 6. Obviously, this is one of my top moments. I think I had it number 2 or number 1. But when it comes to the game, honestly, the Spurs kind of controlled most of this game. From what I remember, the Heat kind of came storming back towards the end, and really stole the game from the Spurs. The Spurs should have won this game, which makes that moment just that more iconic, right? But as far as the game goes, I actually think the Spurs should have won this game. And then going to number 17, I have Duke, Kentucky, Christian Laettner, the shot. Super great game between these two. Obviously, super big rivals between Duke and Kentucky, two blue bloods. Kind of the legend of Christian Laettner and all the hate he gets, as well as Duke and Kentucky, the rivalry they have. So love that one. Great game. And then at number 16, I have Boise State, the Fiesta Bowl. This was also in my moments, but that game just back and forth goes into overtime. You gotta love it. It's iconic. It puts Boise State as really, I mean, we've talked about this moment before, right? Like they were never talked about, considered, whatever, and now everyone knows them as this legendary trick play school. So shout out Chris Peterson. All right. So now we will go to my moment, which I have picked the Christian Laettner shot because I know certain people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about right now. So let's get to it. 1 second.
Has repeated as NCAA champions since UCLA. There's the pass to Laettner. Puts it up. Yes! We talked about a quick pass to half court, but with people playing behind Christian Laettner.
Can we do the redraft? I want that guy as my QB. Sheesh, Dodge. Sheesh. Sheesh, you want to talk about full court.
K-Love, dog. Look up the highlights.
All right, what do you guys think of my 5 here?
I also have the Boise State game, a little bit higher, but I also have the NBA Spurs Heat game also a little bit higher, but
You think okay, but I know there's certain games like Duke, Kentucky, Butler, Duke,
No.
Titans, Rams. What do you think of those picks?
I like it. I didn't think
Respectable.
about putting Christian Leitner's shot in there, if I'm being honest. But that is such a classic. I can understand it because it's such a classic rivalry.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think it's iconic too because the score was 103, 102, and teams were not scoring that much at the
Yeah.
time, right? And so it just shows how good those teams were and how much of a battle it was. Even though it went to OT, it's still insane to think about. A staple of a moment for Christian Leitner too. I like the Rams Titans. I thought about it. It was just outside my list, and so was the Butler Duke game, just because it was such a fun national championship.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's go to wrong link. Caden, back to you. We have number 15 through 11, I believe.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Tried showing this earlier, but now you can actually present it.
All right. At 15, I got the 2008 Super Bowl with the helmet catch. The Patriots are 18-0 at the time. Giants are come storming in. No one really gives them too much of a chance. Dodge likes this game a lot more because it's defensive heavy. Final score is 17-14, and everyone's just considering this Tom Brady. They're just going to roll an undefeated season, and all of a sudden the Giants they're pesky. They fight. They get the helmet catch. They go down. They win the game. They win the Super Bowl. No perfect season. Probably one of the most exciting Super Bowls. One of the first Super Bowls that I actually remember as a kid too.
Yeah, that's
A huge moment. At 14, I got the Villanova North Carolina National Championship. Super fun game. Obviously, the ending is probably one of the top 5 moments all time. But the last 5 minutes of this game, it's just back and forth. Teams are hitting clutch shots.
Yep.
Marcus Page hits a double clutch pump 3-pointer to get them the lead. Just unreal game. Everyone's going off. Super fun. Super exciting. You're on the edge of the seat the whole time. At 13, I got App State, Michigan college football game. Probably the greatest FCS over FBS upset of all time, especially at the time. You're considering App State's going into the big house. They're supposed to probably lose that game by 50 plus, and they keep it close and they pull it out at the end. And I think nowadays you see, FCS teams beating FBS teams a lot more, but I just don't think it's the same scale as this game. Right, the talent level, the disparity is so much different. So an upset like this that no one expects is just super exciting. At 12, I got Game 6, 1998 NBA Championship, Michael Jordan, Bulls versus the Utah Jazz. This is the iconic The Shot, but I just think it was such an exciting game. Everyone was there. It's in Utah. Utah fans, they want to beat the Bulls. Everyone wants to see if Jordan can go perfect in the finals. He hits the shot 6-0, perfect NBA Finals, perfect way for him to cement his legacy. And then at 11, I got the Frazier versus Ali, the first fight. Anyone that's a boxing fan, they're both undefeated in their prime at the time. It goes 15 rounds. Frazier, left hook on Ali, wins, unanimous decision. It's created 2 more fights after it. Everyone was tuned in. It's a big moment. So super exciting.
definitely. Interesting that you included boxing. There's another sport you include on here later in your list that you included. I wasn't sure if we should be doing that other sports. I didn't know if you consider it a game, so I didn't do it, but I respected it, and I'm not gonna discredit or anything. So I was glad that you branched out. Speaking of that, and before I get into your clip, Dodge, you got any words on his list here?
I some of these were close. I definitely had them in my top moments. Like the helmet catch was definitely my top moments. The Villanova UNC championship game was definitely in my top moments. But the games didn't necessarily make my list. It was very close on the Giants Patriots Super Bowl because I do love that game, but it's almost for me, it almost like that one play made the game more than the game made the play, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I see what you're
But
saying.
it was close. It was very close.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to your clip. Going old school here.
Step back, says the referee. Time is important here.
Smoking Joe. Bam.
Woo!
Ali stood back up, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to. All right. Well, let's go to Dodge's list now. Dodge, we have your number 15 through 11.
Yep.
We have some interesting ones in this. All right, give me
It's
one.
going to get a little funky here. Yeah.
It does get a little funky here. All right, here we go. Starting with number 15.
All right. AAA baseball. Not what you think of for top 25 greatest games ever. But in 1981, there was a 33-inning game, and it was by the Pawtucket Paw Sox. And who's the other team? One sec.
It's okay. We'll watch the clip of it, and so we can hear it.
Okay. I had him on there, but I forgot. But what matters about this game is that it went 33 innings. It's the longest baseball game ever recorded. And just think about this. You paid $10 to get into a 33-inning, 3-day baseball game. Now, the reason why this is in the greatest games is because the fact that its length of time will never be repeated. And honestly, that's something that I didn't list in my criteria that you might hear a lot, that I probably should have listed in my criteria, is a lot of these things are things that we'll never see again, or most likely won't see beaten.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. And I'd only wish that I'd watched this game. Like, I've missed this game, right? Because it's AAA baseball. But imagine if this was MLB baseball, it would be covered, and if it was, 40 years later.
Yeah. ESPN's
It
got
would be
full coverage.
ESPN.
It's still going on. Yeah.
It would be on.
They got a tracker on it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why it's on there. This is where I have my college football 2019 LSU versus Texas A&M. I remember watching that game 7 overtimes. It was actually a well-played game on defense, sort of, as well. Even though the score was super high, it's because they went into 7 overtimes. But just a very iconic game with good teams coming into the season. And then 2007 Fiesta Bowl, obviously. Boise State versus Oklahoma. I remember watching this game too. There are some very classic moments in this game, but the game was great throughout. I mean, it is one of the best games I've ever seen, to be honest, especially in college.
Definitely.
And then AFC Championship game. This is where I got the 2022 Chiefs Bills. 13-second comeback was crazy, but also the game was well played throughout. And we didn't know necessarily who was going to win until I thought, oh, that's it. The Bills scored with 13 seconds left game. That's it. And then boom. Wait a second. Just the surprising twist and turn is what make this game into the 12th best game ever. And then this one is a little bit of an oddball, a little bit of curveball, splitter, whatever you want to call it. MLB ALCS Game 3, Yankees v. Red Sox. Like Caden said, the Yankees win this series, and they win this game too. They win this game 4-3, and the game was a good game. Obviously, it was 4-3, very competitive throughout. but this game is quintessential of Yankees v Red Sox because there's a brawl, bench clearing brawl that happens in this game. And if you wanted to find something that is a Yankees Red Sox classic game, it's postseason, it's games close, tight, and the pitchers are thrown at the batters, and there's bench clearing brawls. So, yeah, that's why it's number 11 on my list.
All right. I like it. Before we get into your clip of the AAA longest game, Cade, you got anything on his list?
We have a lot of similar ones. I think it's interesting when you talk about the brawl in the game 3 of the Yankees because I sat here and I considered doing the Malice in the Palace as one of mine forever, just because much watch like after the fact of what's going on, not because of the game itself, but because of the fight. And I really consider that. So I like that you put that on there because of the fight too.
Yeah, kind of not metaphorical. I don't know if that's the right word, but definitely like representation of like the rivalry those two have for sure. I like it. All right, let's go to your clip of the game that nobody's probably heard of or seen.
I was the only fan on the first base side at the end of the game.
By comparison, the third base side was packed, according to Gary Levin.
There are about 5 to 8 actual fans here.
Of course, it didn't start out that way. Earlier that evening, 1,740 people had shown up to watch the Pawtucket Red Sox take on the Rochester Red Wings. Most of the fans, we can only assume, had every intention of staying till the end of the game. But several events conspired against them.
Cool and windy night here in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
The first was the weather.
Felt like a blizzard, but without the snow.
So a lot of people left during the course of the night.
And yet it wasn't the cold that drove away the bulk of them. It was the clock. The game started just after 8 and continued till just before sunrise. The longest game in baseball history. They played 32 innings that night, spent 8 hours in frigid cold, and still nobody won.
Brutal. You play 32 innings and nobody wins. Brutal. I'd be pissed, but I'd also just want to be done with the game. So,
well, that's why they went and played the game later and got it done in 33.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So my 15 through 11, starting with number 15, which because I have a sneak peek at both of your lists, this is on neither of your lists, but as a Broncos fan, it is on mine. The Drive by Mr. John Elway. It is a great game, a great moment, probably one of the best comebacks. We always hear about the 28-3 comeback, but with the time allotted to Mr. John Elway, this is kind of cement him as one of the most clutch QBs at the time. Crazy. It was not in the championship game. I believe it was in the AFC championship. Or I don't know if they were in AFC or NFC championship at the time, but it was in that championship game and come back to win, drives them 98 yards to win the game. I think iconic moment, drive, and just a good game. I mean, to come back like that for the Broncos on the Browns is huge. And it also shows, you want to talk about representation, it just shows how crappy the Browns have had it for so long. Losing a game like that, terrible. So next I have one of Dodge's moments. I have Alabama-Georgia 2018 national championship game. That game went into overtime. Of course, Tua and the Jalen Hurts drama. There's just so much going on during that game. A great game to watch in general. And the ending is obviously great as well. So that's why I have it at 14. At 13, I have Jimmy V winning his national title. Caden, you touched up on it earlier. They weren't expected to be there. They upset Houston. Houston was the team to beat, and they did it as a huge underdog. And then Jimmy V obviously has cancer. Great story. So great game, an upset there. Super Bowl 49, I have it number 12. great game, back and forth. Dodge, I know you're not happy about that. That is the Seahawks versus the Patriots. If you're unaware, where Malcolm Butler intercepts it at the what half-yard line. So I mean, it's great games from start to finish. I mean, the Seahawks were inches, yards, feet, however many, whatever you want to say, from winning a Super Bowl, and the Patriots take it, and then we start to say, wow, is Tom Brady one of the greatest ever? So then we go into number 11. I have Game 4 of the Red Sox World Series. Caden, you also had this on your list in 2004. I should have clarified that. But as you mentioned, it kind of changed the series around. And yeah, David Ortiz, grand slam, great game. So any comments on this list?
Yeah, I guess I have Super Bowl 49 higher, even though it hurts. Yes.
Andrew cries,
Yep.
and the armchair athletes say it hurts too.
It does hurt. It hurts a lot. I laugh through the pain. I can't think about anything else right now. So someone else speak.
No, I like it too. I think I actually didn't have Super Bowl 49 on my list, and I think it's because I forgot about it, honestly. But when you're thinking about all these games, just escape my mind. But I was more upset that the Patriots won that Super Bowl too, so maybe I didn't want to include it. But I think I put the Clemson-Bama game instead of the Bama-Georgia. I was in between those two, and I decided to go with the Clemson one instead, even though this was also
they're
a super
both great
exciting
games.
game.
I think you could go either or. It's really which one you prefer. So, all right, anything else? All right, let's go to my clip. I have the drive.
Sure you do. Always.
I do. Represent, baby.
Elway to Winder. 10 minutes to go. Ooh, boy, 3:23 left. Elway's got some running room. Sewell. Oh, how did he hang up? Going deep.
Does not look hopeful here. Can he pull it off?
The hopes of Denver still alive. Maybe we could go back and see that play so close to disaster. Cross that ball off his hip, and Elway very quickly makes the adjustment and makes the big play downfield. What a critical play. 2nd and 10 at the 28. Screen to Sewell. Blockers. He's inside. He'll run.
That'd be a penalty nowadays.
Touchdown, Mark Jackson.
I remember Elway talking about that last throw there. He says it's the hardest ball he's ever thrown in his life. He just chucked it. So I'm sure that felt really great in that man's hands. All right, let's go back to Cade. Cade, you have your top 10 now. Now we're going to show 2 clips from your 10 through 6, and then we'll show all 5 of your last 5 clips. But first, get into your top 10. We have 10 through 5. Starting with number 10, Cade, you have. That's my list. Don't look. Here we go.
All right. At number 10, I have probably my favorite college basketball game of all time. UConn-Syracuse, the 6 overtime thriller. Michael Carter's balling out. The Syracuse win this 127-117. You know, it's just a game where it was the ACC tournament. I just had it on because I just wanted some basketball to watch. Pretty sure it was like a 10 a.m. game, super early. Next thing you know, they go to overtime. You're glued. Then it goes to double overtime. Like, okay, now I got to watch this out. Then 3, then 4, and 5. All-star players are fouling out. You got bench players putting up 25 points. And then 6 overtime thriller. Syracuse takes it. And then they have to play again the next day. I think it's still just one of the most exciting college basketball games that I ever watched. At number 9, Miracle on Ice, as Dodge said, has to be on the list at some point. Just means too much for sports, for us. USA, it's not like they got the lead early and held on to it. They were down by 1 going into the third period. They scored 2 goals and they survived an absolute onslaught at the end of the game to win that. At number 8, I have Michael Phelps, 2008, and I'm going to talk about the 100-meter butterfly specifically. He had won 6 gold medals going into this, and this is the one that everyone thought he was going to lose. He had the greatest chance of losing. He ends up winning by 0.01 seconds this gold medal. They review it for it seemed like an hour at the time. Everyone's sitting in anticipation. They're on the podium. Everyone's waiting for the music to stop and then be like, whoa, 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 this happened. If you actually look at the replay, second place guy touched the pad first, but Michael Phelps actually applied the most pressure right away, so that's why he ended up winning by 0.01. Super crazy ending to a super crazy story of winning 8 gold medals for him. At number 7, I have the Game 6, the 2013 NBA Finals against the Heat and the Spurs. Obviously, corner 3 Ray Allen is a big moment, but I remember watching this game because I was like, oh, finally, I was going for the Spurs. I was like, they're going to beat the Heat. They have to do it here. I mean, like you said, they were kind of dominating, controlling the whole way. So as a Spurs fan for the game, I was super excited. And then LeBron James, Heat come roaring back. They already had everything taped off. They had the cleaning crew ready to get people out of the way. And then all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, we're going 7.
Yeah.
And then number 6, I have the 28-3 Super Bowl comeback. One of those games where you're like, oh, it's basically over. You start just partying, talking with friends, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's a close game. Gets a little bit closer. Next thing you know, we're going to OT. And you're like, what just happened? As everyone's going for Matty Ice in this moment, I don't think a lot of people really thought that he had they could do it, and then all of a sudden they were doing it. And next thing you know, here comes Tom Brady roaring back. So definitely on your edge of the seat the last, quarter and then overtime, but it wasn't necessarily the great game, but I just think it being in the Super Bowl amplifies the game itself.
Definitely. I mean, I have some of these moments. Obviously, we've talked about a few of them already with the NBA Spurs versus the Heat. The comeback I have on my list, I think I'll talk about it later, but I think it's it might be the greatest comeback of all time.
Okay.
What?
Okay. I thought you were about to say the greatest game, and I was like, absolutely not.
No, I wouldn't say that right now.
Okay.
I wouldn't. If it was, I wouldn't spoil it right now.
Okay.
1,
Okay.
but 2. No. I think it's the greatest comeback of all time. Just with the stage it was at, as well as how down they were. I mean, they're 28-3. That's a huge lead, and to shut them down on defense like that after having their offense kind of expose that defense in the first half is such a hard thing to do. So underrated. Everyone talks about, oh, Tom Brady, give the defense as much credit in that game, because without the defense holding them to 28 points, that's not possible. So I think that's something that's also underrated in that game. But I like your picks. I also like the Phelps pick, as well as the UConn Syracuse pick. 2 picks that I didn't have on mine. So
the only thing that I disagree on the 28-3 comeback is that I knew a Patriots fan, or I know a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
And
he stopped watching.
During that, he started driving around. He stopped watching the game. So I don't know if it's the greatest game, but it is definitely a great comeback, and I understand why it's on your guys' list, but it didn't make mine. But
it's crazy. Anyways, all right, let's go to your clip. I have UConn Syracuse highlights. 1 second.
I'll say there isn't a loser, there's a survivor.
I got it on freaking 1 second.
Walker all along the way in. Devendorf at the buzzer. Oh!
They're going to wave it off. Have to prepare yourself now for overtime.
Walker contested and will head for double overtime.
Does it get any better?
Walker for the win.
Unbelievable. This is as good as I've been involved in.
Andy Rowden for three.
How good is this?
A nightmare for Paul Harris. Yo, Adrian could not deliver the knockout punch. Overtime number 6. Rollins looks fresh as a daisy. Harris missed another time. Harris fouled and it counts.
Plotting for both teams. Remarkable.
I can't imagine being involved.
Nuts.
UConn Kemba just produced great games. This
Cardiac
and
Kemba.
Pitt step back. Oof.
God, I wish he was better for Boston.
Same.
Don't we all, brother? Don't
He's
we all?
I mean, he's such a likable guy. Like how could you not want him to do well, you know? But anyways, yeah, so that is your moment, Dodge. We will go to your list now, 10 through 5. You have some. Oh, I'm gonna
What'd you
ruin
have
the
on my
surprise
list?
here. You have only one moment from your 10 through 5 that are on our list.
Yeah, well, y'all are whack because Super Bowl 52, the Philly special Super Bowl. This was just a good game to watch overall. I honestly thought just a good game. We got to see Bill Belichick go at it, right? And we got to see Nick Foles against Tom Brady. I mean, the entire game. And, I don't know. I thought it was a good game to watch. I think the Philly special moves it up a notch. And, yeah, I've kind of always had a soft spot for the Eagles. The college football game, 1988. This also is the ESPN 30 for 30. Catholics versus the Convicts. Notre Dame versus Miami. And the reason why it's special is because you have two different programs that are just
Dominating
at a
football.
time. Yeah, they're dominating football, but they're also like seen as being completely different from each other.
Yeah.
Right. And this game was 31-30. Right. And I mean, it was just a great game. There's a reason why ESPN 30 for 30 has it. And if you should watch that ESPN 30 for 30, it's a great game. Yeah, I'm not surprised you guys don't have that on your list though. Notre Dame haters. The next one was a typo. It's actually NBA Finals game 2013 Game 6, which all three of us had, obviously, because it was a great game, especially towards the end, and that buzzer beater game winning. It's the ending shot.
It sent it to overtime, yeah.
Yeah, that shot by Ray Allen is just something that will live in my memory forever.
Yeah.
And it totally deserves to be on this list. The 1999 or 1991 Game 7 World Series between the Twins and the Braves.
Yep.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. I thought about it. It was an honorable mention for me. It's an honorable mention for me.
I'm surprised it's not on the Twins fans list. But you had Smoltz, and you had Jack Morris pitching. Jack Morris throws 10 innings in this game. 126 pitches. John Smoltz, obviously, I believe he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. If he's not, he's got to be really close. And this game goes into the 10th inning, 0-0. Until absolute pitching duel until finally the Twins put up one run and they win the game. And obviously they win the World Series. So, I mean, just what an absolute game 7 to have, right?
Yeah.
0 runs. I mean, just amazing. Not the best offensive game. If you're a casual fan, probably not wonderful. But anyone who loves baseball would love to watch that game. And then this is a little bit older Bird v. Magic, right? This is the 1979 college championship game. And the reason why I have this game rather than some NBA finals is because this is like what cements the future. People watch this game and they go, these two guys are it. And they're going to be the future stars of the NBA. And they were right away. I mean, they were stars in the NBA right away. And it starts one of the greatest NBA rivalries of all time. I'm not sure that there's an NBA rivalry that beats this. Bird versus Magic. Whenever you think of Magic, you think of Bird. Whenever you think of Bird, you think of Magic. Like, the two names are almost synonymous with each other. And it starts right here in the 1979 championship game. So that's why it's on my list.
Yep. Okay. I do have a question for you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl 52. That one's looming for me a little bit. Do
You don't like that
game? Do you like that game because you actually think it's a good game, or do you like it because the Eagles won?
Both. I mean, I was tired of.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't even consider it.
Whoa, that's surprising. I thought it was a good game. I also was super happy. Like, would have I? Why am I saying it like that? All right. I wouldn't have put it in probably if the Patriots would have won this game. Right?
Yeah, but that's my point.
And arguably that's what makes it a moment, right? The Philly special is the moment.
Yeah.
But it was a good game, I thought, without it.
Okay.
And the Philly special elevates it into this list.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have it quite high on this list. I think you could argue it could be lower. I'm surprised you didn't think of it to be on the list, though.
Kate agrees with me.
I didn't consider it either. I thought just the Philly special moment over game for me. I also
remember when the Patriots tried the moment too.
Tom Brady. I love the Bird Magic pick though. I think it was either 82 or 84 game 4 NBA finals when he gets that hook shot over like 4 Celtic players. I considered that too because that's part of that little rivalry, but I really like that pick.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Well, I forgot that we are doing 2 clips for top 10 for 10 through 5. So first we're going to do Miracle on Ice for Caden. Final minute.
In front, backhander goes wide. I think Creighton got just a piece of it. Mikhailov back out to Bilyaletdinov. 43 seconds remaining. Morrow checked into the boards. It comes back to center ice. 37 seconds left in the game. Petrov with the play. 28 seconds. The American end again. Morrow is back there. Now Johnson, 19 seconds.
Keep away.
Over to Ramsey. Bilyaletdinov checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Iconic call there, too. You gotta love the call. All right, and then next we have Dodges. A little clip from the 30 for 30. Talked about it a little bit. We have Convicts versus Catholics. 1 second. This is way too complicated to do this.
He's fired up.
Go through. They didn't respect us. That they just ran through us and bumped us and like, get out of our way. This is our field.
Notre Dame wasn't going to allow that to happen.
Well, I was in the press box, and you heard the crowd react first. Everybody in the stands said, hell yeah.
It wasn't a shoving match. It was a rumble.
It was a bar fight, and we had stools we'd be hitting each other with them. Punches have been thrown, helmets being ripped off.
We tried to break it up, couldn't break it up.
There you have it. And if you guys haven't seen the University of Miami Twins episode that I just recently came out with, that is a perfect segue to go watch that right then and there, because they are apparently convicts. They are not convicts, but
it's a really good episode, though. I did just watch it, so
yeah. What was their rap? Like the 7th Floor Crew? Is that year with Miami?
Are you talking about this game or no, the Twins?
No, the Miami. No, the U. Like the convicts versus Catholics, right? That's what the 7th Floor Crew or something like that.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Sorry, I got confused. I thought you were talking about the Twins. I was like, what?
Nah.
All right, here we go.
An excellent shooter. A sophomore. Here's the great player Bird. 11. Oh, that read is hit free low. Oh, there's the pass. Like a shot. Go.
Wide open.
Woo! It's all over. Michigan State University, national champions, 1979.
And Larry Bird took that personally. All right. Now to my 10 through 5. Here we go. Starting at number 10, I have the Iron Bowl. Obviously, the kick 6 is iconic as a moment, but it's also just a great game, back and forth. The Auburn team comes back. There's just so much drama. Obviously, huge rivalry. You think of rivalry in sports. This is one of the best in college football, and it's like the little brother finally beats the big brother, right? So I think you got to include it here. And Alabama, this was during their peak. Like, nobody thought they were going to be beaten, right? So Saban years, I think, is just iconic. So number 9, I have Celtics Lakers. I have the hook shot that Caden was talking about. I don't know if it's 87 or 84. But regardless, it's where Larry misses and Magic hooks over like 3 people. Crazy shot. Kind of just significant for their rivalry specifically. So you got to love it. Number 8, MJ's final shot. Iconic moment there. Number 7, I have Joe Montana's The Catch. I have throw, but it's Joe Montana's The Catch. Crazy game back and forth throughout. Obviously, the catch is a huge moment in sports, one of the best moments in sports, but Cowboys, Niners, 2 of the most historic franchises going back and forth the entire game. First half's close, second half's close, up to the wire throughout the entire game. One of the most iconic Super Bowls. You got to include it, or at least consider it. Then at number 6, I have the Cubs, Game 7 versus Indians, which Caden also touched on already, where they break the drought. So I forgot to show Dodge's moments. I'm kind of a mess. The second one, I showed her the second one. So no, we're going back. We're going back to mine, and I have MJ's final or last shot that Caden also had on his list. Oh, God damn it! Here we go. Oh my God. Oh, first he steals it.
Along his double.
Look at that.
Swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan. Open. Chicago with the lead. He gets.
Beautiful shot by the man. You know, whether it was push off or not, they'll debate. for years to come. Don't really care. It's the comeback for me. The story that wasn't. I mean, MJ talks about it. It wasn't their best game. They really were struggling the entire game. They come back and they kind of just end it right then and there. Kind of MJ's last goodbye. Like, I'm fucking him. I am him. Don't doubt me. So I love that's kind of how we end his career until he goes to the Wizards. I'm just kidding. But yeah. So that is my moment that I want to show, and then I also have the catch.
Pontiac, 3rd and 3. We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.
That's where Gronk learned how to spike. All right. So, boys, what do you guys think of my 10 through 5?
That clip hurt. That's all I'm gonna say. that hurts. It's painful. It's also not the Super Bowl though. It's the NFC Championship, right?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. You're right.
I was having a moment there. I was like, oh fuck.
No. You're right. It is not the Super Bowl. It is the NFC Championship game, but it is a great game
It
and
is insane.
an iconic moment too.
Painful.
Dodge, what do you think?
Put your list back up there again.
All right, one second. Make me work tonight, Dodge.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Here we go.
Nah, you know what? I thought your list was solid. The only question I have for both of you, I guess, on Cubs Game 7, is it because the Cubs end the drought, or is it because the Game 7 was like the best game of that series to you?
I think it's both. It's both. Personally, I think them having the lead, then it kind of being taken away from them, and then having to get it back in the 9th inning. That's how they win it. That's how they break the drought. I think that's perfect.
Game 7 too. Yeah, it was close for me because obviously that's in my moments as well.
Yeah,
but I had it in my moments and I didn't have
I mean,
it.
even Andrew agrees. So,
Heck yeah, Andrew.
Cade?
Yeah, same as you. I think the anticipation too. It's like, can the Cubs finally built this roster to be able to do it? It's Game 7. Like, it can't be all for nothing. And then the last inning is just poetry for them to come back and win like that.
Definitely. All right, so I don't have lists for our top 5 now. I just have banners. So starting with Mr. Caden, your number 5. Steelers versus Cardinals Super Bowl, which was at my 25.
I don't know how you had that.
Why do you have it? Why do you have it so high?
I don't know how you had it so low. This is my favorite Super Bowl of all time to watch.
Okay.
Because it's kind of got the good boy Cardinals against the bad boy Steelers vibes to it. Kurt Warner. It's a great game the whole way. You got huge moments. Obviously the toe tap in the corner of the end zone, 100-yard pick six, 2 defenses going at it, 2 offenses fighting. It's just such a fun game to watch. Everyone wanted, I think, the Cardinals to win this game. They're going for them. It was just 2 teams that seemed like weren't there that much. Like, it's just an unexpected Super Bowl matchup if you think about it, really. But it was just an awesome game. Both teams played their heart out. Stars on both sides. It was super fun to watch.
Definitely. I think you've made a case. I think, Dodge, you're going to make a case for it later too, but I definitely could have reconsidered it to be higher. I like, genuinely though, I'm not gonna lie, boys. I didn't think you guys were gonna have the Super Bowl this high. Like, I thought I was crazy for even having it in the top 25. If I'm being honest, I didn't know people respected it like that. So I'm honestly proud that both I had it. My initial list, I had it like top 15. I moved it.
Oh, you should have left it.
There's no way these guys are gonna think I'm crazy for having it top 15. So I moved it.
No.
Should have moved it. But anyways. That's what you get for second guessing yourself. Always go on your first instinct. But let's watch this 100-yard pick six by Mr. James Harrison, the big boy.
Well, they can pick down here from the gun. Steelers show blitz. Here they come. He gets it away, and it's picked off at the goal line. There's a flag thrown on the run back. James Harrison
to run it back, and Harrison is past midfield. Harrison going down the sideline. Harrison still on his feet. Harrison is going.
Larry Pitts.
Away and waiting for the official to get there. Touchdown.
Right at half too. Like that's underrated there too. Because if they, they lose the game, so I guess
Yeah.
Or no, they win the game. They win the game. Yeah. No, that is.
Well,
a big moment. That is
but
a big
it's huge because they lose the game if they don't get that.
Yeah. No, that's a huge moment.
Yeah.
So right at half, like that's like, I know nobody really cares about wrestling here, but like that's like getting a last second takedown. Like that is like 3 points right at the end. That like it's just like a drainer. So huge. All right, Dodge, you're number 5. Super Bowl 49, Seahawks Patriots. Talk about it, and I know you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to, but if you guys remember, this was a great game to watch. It's up there for one of the best football games I've ever seen. And you know, when Jermaine Kearse makes that catch, I think it's destiny. I legit sit there thinking, the Lord, you know, he's made this moment for Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yep,
it's literally written down on some tablet somewhere.
Yeah.
That this is what is meant to be.
Yep.
And then it gets snatched and ripped away. And you know, you want to talk about one of the games that I legitimately cried. There's only been a couple. And there's only been one since I was a teenager. There's one because the Niners absolutely rocked the Seahawks when I was like 9. But this is one that hurt me hard. And it is one of the best games of all time. So,
all right, let's watch the moment that made Dodge cry.
Why'd you have to choose this moment?
5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal.
And Russell Wilson was never the same. All right. I'm just playing. All right. Come on now. No, I like the pick. I like that you put it up so high. I think a lot of people in your position wouldn't want to put it up that high, so I got to give you that respect. But a great game, and something that definitely deserves to be on the list for sure. Great game back and forth, and like you said, it came down to the wire. I already kind of talked about it. So, Ed, what do you think of it here?
I like it. Like I said, it's one of those where I forgot about it. It would have been top 10 in mine as well.
Yeah,
another one of the best Super Bowls, but just
crazy, crazy game. Yeah.
Insane.
All right, so my number 5 is the Villanova versus NC national title game. Dodge, you kind of talked about it earlier. You know, yes, there is. You know, you might just think of the moments. You know, you could argue that. That's an argue. I actually remember the whole game personally. I actually just remember thinking like the entire game was just insane, and I think the ending just topped it off, especially the second half. That 10-minute stretch towards the end of the second half, especially, I'm just like, this is nuts. Like, it's just momentum building up, anticipation. It's just one of the best games I've ever seen, and I feel like the crowd plays into it even better. This is just one of those memorable crowds too that I remember. So let's watch the shot at the end of the game by Chris Jenkins, I believe. Oh no, we gotta have sound.
To the court with Archie Diacono. 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
Immediate fireworks. Shout out that guy.
With Jenkins hitting the winner at the buzzer. Jim, they're going to check it. I thought it was good live, but how about?
He looks pissed. I would be. No, but just a great game. Any comments on this one?
No, it was a really great game. It just didn't make my list because the moment is what my brain goes to.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
It it was one of my greatest moments of all time. So I'm not surprised to see it in both of your greatest games.
Definitely. All right, let's go to number 4. Cade, you've got Texas versus USC national title game. Probably one of the best national title games we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Break it down for us.
2006 Rose Bowl at the time. USC comes in 7-point favorites. Reggie Bush, star-studded game. You know, the Longhorns have Vince Young, and it's kind of back and forth. USC jumps to an early lead. Texas takes the lead at halftime, and it's just back and forth, exciting, fun, hard-hitting football. And then everyone knows the moment at the end of the game. Vince Young scrambling to the right side, game-winning touchdown right at the end. Huge upset over USC, and just probably one of the most exciting national championship games we've ever seen in college football. Iconic moments, iconic stars. Just a thrilling game overall.
Dodge, you and I both have this in our top 5, so I feel like we don't need to say much right now, but definitely a great game. So let's watch the moment of Vince Young running it in.
4th and 5. I kind of feel like Joe. I'm too old for this. 4th and 5, the national championship on the line right here. He's going for the corner. He's got it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I want to talk about it more, but we will in just a sec, Dodge. Don't worry.
Yeah,
all right, here we go. NBA Finals 2016 Game 7 for Dodge at number 4.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Well, this is after the Cavs have made the comeback down 3-1 to make it 3-3, right? Yep. And this is just a super iconic game. We see a classic LeBron hunt down of the block shot. We see Kyrie playing great against Steph. And yeah, I mean, this is just quintessential basketball. It's one of the best basketball games I've watched, especially considering the fact that they were down 3-1 at one point.
Yep. Me and Caden both have this little higher on our list, believe it or not.
You know, it's interesting.
Either one of us should talk about this too much, but
you know, what's interesting is that I had this higher on my moments, and the 3-1 comeback. The reason why it moved down is because, you know, obviously this is just Game 7, right? Not you know. So it's interesting. I thought about putting it higher though.
Yeah. So all right, let's watch Kyrie's clutch 3.
And then putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
Crazy moment, a momentum swing in the game. One of the momentum swings in the game, I should say, but huge dagger by Mr. Kyrie Irving, who's also playing well, and these Celtics fans are sweating about. All right.
Nice.
That's it. All right, going to my number 4. I have the Miracle on Ice. I think I have it the highest of you boys. I think, like you said, Cade, you kind of broke it down perfectly. We didn't just win this game, like from the jump. Like, we had to actually come back. You know, we were young. The story's great, obviously dramatized, as Dodge mentioned, but you think of hockey and you think of the greatest game in hockey. And I think this has to be considered one of the greatest games. And what makes it so much greater for me is it's at a world stage, right? Not everyone watches football. Not everyone watches basketball. But most of the world watches the Olympics. And so for them to see a young team from the U.S. beat USSR during the Cold War, where we're not actually fighting, right? I know I don't want to get into history buff stuff, right? This was like our war, right? Like this was like our war, and we won with the young guys who weren't expected to win. So that's why I bet at number 4. All right. Any comments on that? I guess you guys have both already talked about it, but
Nope.
is it too high?
Love it. No.
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 Okay. All right. Let's go to back to Cade,
Mhm.
Boise State,
Yep.
Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
You got
I
that
know.
one hot.
I have this. Yeah, I have a little bit higher. I think it's more like opinionated because at the time I was following Boise State this whole year,
Yep.
and because they were just so much fun to watch.
Yep.
And then this is just, they're not supposed to win this game. They're a high flying offense. They do trickery, and then you're watching it, and it's just like you're on the edge of your seat. We're kids at the time, but we're like, what are they gonna do next? What kind of play are they gonna run next? Can they get the stop? And then they're pulling every trick out of the bag, and then they run that Statue of Liberty. You don't know what's going on. They score, they win the game. It's just chaos. Probably one of my favorite college football games of all time.
Yeah.
Especially like I'm from Montana, right? So like Boise State's the closest FBS team for us to root for.
Yep.
So we're
Yep.
following that story the whole season. Kellen
Same here,
Moore's
yep.
going off. It is just so much fun. Such an exciting game. Probably one of the best like bowl games, non-national championships of all
Yep.
time.
No, and then right after he goes and wins this game, he goes and proposes.
Oh,
which-
yeah. Ian Johnson. Yeah.
Woof. I mean, that is bold, man. That is bold. Like,
cheerleader,
what was
no
his
less.
plan? What was his plan if he lost? You know, like, damn, brother had confidence in his team. So let's watch.
Type of run pass option going to the right. Boise State for the win. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
He's like, "Where's my wife?"
Immediately.
He said, "I know what to do. Let me get on a knee." Woo. No, great
No.
choice. I love it. I love it this high. I considered it this high. Obviously, like you said, we didn't have much to watch. We didn't have much to root for close to where I was. I guess I had WSU, but different state for me, right? So Boise was Idaho's school, really. That was good. So definitely an iconic moment for an Idaho boy like myself. Dodge,
Yeah,
we both have the same number 3. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Dodge.
I
My
was
fault.
just gonna say that I love the pick. I didn't quite have it as high, but I can understand why it's this high. I
Yeah.
think even people were discussing beforehand, should they have put Boise State against Oklahoma? Like,
Yeah.
it's Oklahoma. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Boise State should be in a lower bowl game. And just that adding into the game it made it even more beautiful. So
Yep. Definitely. Great point there too, because that kind of gets overlooked a little bit. So Texas USC national title. You and I both, Dodge, have this at number 3.
would you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, obviously, I mean, we're talking about 2 programs that are just nationally widespread, known, and like when you think of college football, Texas and USC are one of the first college football teams that come to mind. And this game was a great game, and it's won in a iconic way, like you said, with players who would go on to the NFL, players that are known for their success in college even.
Yep.
And it's just, this is what football is, baby, especially in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all,
Yep.
Just great.
Definitely.
So
Definitely. I like it. All right. I mean, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, believe Lendale White, Vince Young. Was Ricky Williams on that team too?
I'll look it up.
I want to say Ricky Williams was on that team. So many great names. And Texas was still the underdog. I don't know if you guys have heard the story of Matthew McConaughey giving them their speech beforehand. Gotta love that. All right, boys, let's go win this one against them Trojans. But
Ricky
Anytime I
Williams
see
is
USC lose, he was not. Is that what you said?
No, he's not. He's
That even makes the win even bigger.
He's a few years.
Honestly.
He's a few years younger or older. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, this
Anyway.
brings us to Caden's number 2 2013 Iron Bowl.
Whoa! Whoa!
I think.
It's not even on my list.
That's crazy. I think, obviously the kick six, right? It's the greatest moments of college football history. But looking at the scope of the game as well, final game of the regular season, Alabama's an untouchable team this year, right? They're undefeated going in 12-0. Auburn's 11-1. So it's not like a huge upset. This is a highly anticipated matchup, and it's back and forth the whole way. It's in a packed house. The crowd's feeding into the energy. And Bama goes for that long field goal with a kicker that has no business kicking it from that far. And then the call is perfect. The setup is perfect. Everything about the ending is perfect. Bama gets upset in one of the just craziest college football games of all time.
Caden makes a case. I got to say, he persuaded. He was a good persuader there. I got to give him that.
I guess if this thing comes up short, he can field it and run it.
With foreshadowing.
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it to the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow.
I will never get tired of that radio call.
No,
that man had probably some of the best energy I've ever heard from any. And I hope he got promoted.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful. No, great moment. Like I said, kid, I think you did a good job convincing. I had it on my list. I think I had it 10, so not too far off. A little far off. I had still top 10, but for me, I think you set it up good. But again, kind of to Dodge's point, I definitely go to that moment and not necessarily the story, which is why I had it a little lower than you. All right, going to Dodge's number 2. We got Super Bowl 43, Steelers versus Cardinals.
All right, and boys, this I think is the greatest football game I've ever seen.
Wow. Bold take some logical nonsense about that.
That is why it's number 2 on my list, because it's the highest football game I have on here. You'll see what number 1 is. But I mean, this game had so many different things. It was a close game throughout. The halftime pick by James Harrison, right? The San Antonio Holmes touchdown catch at the end. You got Ben Roethlisberger, Kurt Warner going at it. I'm honestly not sure I've seen a better played football game. I think it's the best football game I've ever seen played. There's stars on the field. It's just everybody's giving their all the entire game. It's 2 well-coached teams. I just don't. There's nothing else I can say about this game other than it's probably the best football game I've ever seen. So,
yeah, I think the more and more you guys talk about it, the more and more I'm getting persuaded, which is probably not a good thing. I usually stick to my guns, but like another point comes to mind that like is on your guys' favor. What other video game was made from that Super Bowl? We had Larry and Troy Polamalu. I had to think about that one for a second. We had Larry and Troy Polamalu, the next Madden. So, all right, let's go and watch San Antonio Holmes put 1 foot down. Just kidding.
Whoa.
That time throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Holmes.
I even hated the Steelers at this point. I was still in my Steelers hate period.
Unbelievable. Incredible. They will take a long look upstairs. Then to the corner of the end zone. Does he get both feet down? Left definitely.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That is Dodge number 2. And my number 2, I've got the 28-3 comeback Patriots Falcons. So I definitely have it a lot higher. Dodge, I know you said you don't think it's the greatest game. I think it's the greatest comeback. And I love comebacks. I love a good comeback story. And I think there's even times, like, there's even other moments in this game. Like, y'all remember Julio Jones' catch? Probably one of the best catches we've ever seen. And it doesn't get talked about enough.
Yes.
Like, legit, one of the best catches we've ever seen. So there's just so many crazy moments in this game. And the fact that the Falcons blew it, it's just still crazy to me. Like, it is so nuts to me that they blew it. Like, they were up, and not only up, but looked dominant. They had the best offense that year by a long stretch. It was Matt Ryan's best year. That offense was clicking. There was jobs made because of Atlanta's offense, and it was showing in the Super Bowl. And then everyone knows the story. So let's go watch Tom Brady score the game-tying Super Bowl. And it also I think this comeback, people seriously started considering Tom Brady to be the best quarterback of all time.
On first down, Brady underneath, finds White. White down inside the 10. Alabama, V19. Handoff, touchdown, James White. Going to set up first and goal from the 2. Toss to White. He's in. Patriots win the Super Bowl.
Brutal. It still hurts. I don't like the Patriots. That hurts. That hurts.
Me too.
Man.
Me too.
That hurts. All right. Well, Caden and I have the same number 1. So I actually think that we're going to go to you for once.
Oh, we want to go me first?
We're going to go you first because we want to end it on the same one. Which is funny because I believe Caden and I actually had the same favorite moment too. So I don't know what me and Caden are cooking up here. But we're on the same page. So 1 second. I don't know what happened. Here we go. Okay. We've got Game 1 or World Series 2001 Yankees Diamondbacks. Dodge, you want to talk about it before we show it?
Yeah, I mean, this was in one of my greatest moments of all time. And I think it had to be in the greatest games of all time as well, because we're talking about a Game 7 World Series walk-off. And how many times do you get to say that, right? And the nature of it being a walk-off, it was a good game to watch, obviously. Very close. You get to see the Diamondbacks go up against my hated Yankees. I hate the Yankees. Most people hate the Yankees. And the Diamondbacks go ahead and win this game off a walk-off. It's not necessarily like the greatest play or greatest hit I've ever seen either, right? But it gets the job done, and that's baseball at its finest. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's watch it.
To a lifetime for Luis Gonzalez. 2-2, bottom of the ninth. Game 7 of the World Series. Bases loaded.
Against one of the greatest closers of all time.
Center field. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
livid. Livid they look. Yeah, no, I like it. Obviously, Kate and I did not have it on our list. Hate to break it to you, Dodge, but
Did you guys have any baseball on your list though?
yeah, I had Cubs. I had the.
Oh yeah, you had Cubs. You had Cubs.
Then I
and
had
Red
the
Sox, that's right.
Cards
Sox.
versus Phillies game.
Yeah.
4, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another moment
That's
for me
true.
that
That's
I
true.
enjoyed. So
I
yeah,
forgot about those.
I had
Yeah.
some baseball on there,
All right.
but did not have this one. All right, let's go to Kate and I's number 1 NBA Finals 2016
Oh, whoa.
Game 7.
Okay.
Talk about comebacks. Obviously, throughout the series, the storyline leading up to this game, 3-1, never been done before. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. You guys know this. I know this might be the greatest finals comeback and win of all time. For them to come back 3-1 to one of the best Warriors teams ever assembled. I believe they broke the record that year for the best record in the regular season. Come back from 3-1. So many iconic moments in this game, but throughout the game, it's just back and forth. Like it's just this push-pull. One person takes the lead. You're like, oh, they're going to take it. Nope. Then the other person takes it. The entire game is just so great to watch. One of the best games I've ever seen in basketball. Might be the greatest game I've personally seen in basketball. And I don't think there's going to be a game. It might be a while until I see a game that's better than this. So, Cade?
I agree with you. And I think the anticipation of the game adds up to it. Like everyone's like, can they do it? Come back 3-1. So it almost seems like LeBron, versus this Goliath of a team in the Warriors, Kevin Durant, Curry, Clay, Draymond. He's got Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, JR, but it's just like not comparatively as good. But I think something to duly note about this game is it's kind of low scoring for this Warriors team. They didn't really the Cavs locked in on defense. Kyrie played amazing defense. You got the block, you got the Kyrie 3. Draymond had a 30-point triple-double this game. All right, I think people forget about that a lot too. He was in his bag. Kevin Durant didn't play.
Kicked LeBron in the balls and got suspended. Another thing that gets lost is I think people forget. That's a big debate, right? Do the Cavs come back if Draymond doesn't get suspended? That's a whole nother debate.
There's just so much around this game, and I was glued to the TV the whole game. It was so exciting. It's my favorite basketball game of all time.
Definitely. All right, let's watch LeBron block the shit out of I want Iguodala.
Is running through me right now. Irving drives, hop step inside, closes it up, misses. Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the
Oh my goodness. Great pass by Curry, running hard by Iguodala.
He gets so high on that. The amount of height he gets on that is nuts. That was animal instinct. That was not human. So that is our top 25 greatest games ever played. Thank you for joining this live stream. It was very fun. I very enjoyed it. Thank you, boys, for both making your list. Always fun doing this. Happy 75 episodes. Crazy. We've done it. Obviously, you guys haven't been a part of every episode, but the ones you have always been fun, and I appreciate you both for taking the time out of your day to pour time into this podcast. So, and thanks for everyone that subscribed. We're at 330 subscribers, hoping to get 1,000 by the end of the year. So, appreciate everyone, and thanks, boys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Always fun. Look forward to 100.
Yes, sir. 100 is going to be crazy. I got some crazy ideas for y'all. So, all right. Well, appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe and like. And somebody's going to win a hat. So let's do it.